The Avengers is not as bad as many people have been saying, and it isn't as good as others have said either. From my time with the beta, the game lands somewhere in the middle, while still being fun with a lot of caveats. Before I get into the many issues I came across for the demo, let me cover some of the parts that are done well here. The first mission is really good. It's a linear roller coaster of flashy events and explosions. I really like the transitions when you switch to the different characters. There was a lot of effort put into the execution of this level to let you experience this one fight from multiple angles. This level effectively acts like the tutorial level, but the game does a good job of making a potentially boring tutorial sequence into a fun set piece to kick the beta off with. You get a nice sneak peek at each of the characters' movesets and what is unique to them. I had some issues with the opening level, but overall it was a solid linear set piece with enjoyable moments and something that I would expect from the studios behind it.
You are not worthy. From one former Shield agent to another, I've learned a few tricks since we last met.
Oh yeah? Here's one. Called kicking your ass.
Unfortunately, the second level that we are greeted to is a nosedive in quality. The second level is tedious and an absolute chore to complete. It lacks any of the stellar presentation from the first mission. In this level, you play as both Hulk and Miss Marvel. Both of the characters have some interesting aspects to how they play, but I didn't really jive with either of these characters. What didn't help was the boring level design of walking into a room or an area and just to fight wave after wave of enemies. The story beats here were not that interesting either, and Miss Marvel introduces herself as this fangirl of the Avengers, where this could be played for laughs and cuteness in its execution, it just really felt forced here, unfunny, and overall annoying. Since Miss Marvel is supposed to be at the center of the story, I worry about the overall quality of the narrative in the main game. This second area went on for far too long and lacked any of the wow that you got from the first level. Smashing enemies as the Hulk can be pretty fun at first, but it quickly becomes tedious and his moveset is limited compared to some of the other characters. Miss Marvel is a Mr. Fantastic ripoff, and she can use her stretchiness to swing around certain areas. What hurts this level is how each of these characters are segmented into their own gameplay sections and never really mesh together or have any of the cool transitions that you got from the first level. Now, if these characters were more fun to play as, their gameplay could have made up for the simple level design. This level felt like a downgrade and really deflated the momentum that you got from the first level and what it successfully built up from there. After this tedious level, the game throws you into another level, but thankfully it's a lot shorter. In this third level, Miss Marvel and Hulk fight together and you choose who you want to play as, and then the opposite character will be played as with a friend or an AI. I chose to use the AI. Whenever you use the AI in the beta, you will notice how extremely basic they are. The AI will generally take care of themselves and will focus on any of the enemies nearby. Also, it was really frustrating that the AIs will never focus on the objectives. The game does not give you the option to use basic commands with them either. I am not asking for a load of commands so that I can micromanage the AI, but I think if I have friendly AI with me in single player or co-op, I should be able to give them basic commands like attacking an enemy, defending me, or playing the objective. This would all be simple stuff. So since you need to play all the objectives and your AI will not help you out, then your melee-focused characters will be in situations where they have to stay in specific areas to play the objective. This is not really that fun because these characters don't really have any ranged options, like with Miss Marvel and Hulk. So this third mission sucked as well. At this point, I wanted to stop playing, but I really wanted to see how the other characters played before I officially stopped. So after this, the game says that you need to go do a mission in the Harm Room, which is essentially an alternative form of the Danger Room from the X-Men. Since Marvel and Disney own the X-Men now, why can't they just call it the Danger Room? The Harm Room is a dumb name and it's stupid. So I started the Harm Room and I began to experience an unexpected upswing for this game. Iron Man is what saves this beta for me. He is enjoyable to play as. With Iron Man, you can fly around areas, you have melee attacks, along with a load of ranged options. You can pretty much handle any combat encounter along with any level layout. What also makes him great is that his heavy attacks are ranged attacks, and you can spam these out because he will auto-aim to the closest enemy. Iron Man is vastly superior to Ms. Marvel and the Hulk. He also exposes how the game presents an impressive space to play in, but it really is just restrictive in its execution. The first time you get to control Iron Man in the intro mission, you get to hover, but once you go too high, the game tells you that you are leaving the combat zone. When you see stuff like this, you feel completely underwhelmed by the execution of this game. His flight is fun, but it is really limited. After this, I completed the many missions that the beta provided. The missions were pretty fun and ranged from longer dungeons to quicker, shorter instances. The missions have you consistently fighting enemies, with longer ones having some optional side missions to complete. Many objectives have you defeating a set amount of enemies, standing in a certain area, or destroying certain objectives. Many of these levels feature a lot of corridors with some open areas. Overall, these missions are fun, but after completing over 10 different missions, I felt like I played the same mission over and over again. The missions lack anything to really make them stand out or make them look different outside of a few moments like in some side missions in a city. The levels that do feature side missions feature the same side missions each time you do them. I think if there was some randomization, this would have made every area feel just a bit different when you need to return to it and maybe do some different side missions. One mission does feature a big boss fight, but while this fight was different and enjoyable, I wonder how many times that fight will be used in the main game. After I maxed out Iron Man, I switched to Black Widow, and I love playing as her as well. She is fast and nimble with solid abilities like being able to stun enemies, turn invisible, and she has a special ability that gives her a staff to use. She has a grappling hook for fast movement, and you can use that grappling hook to quickly latch onto enemies and start punching them. She also has pistols for ranged options. She is simply awesome and on par with playing as Iron Man.
What a waste.
Box him in!
Good night.
One thing that I wish the game had more of were synergy moves. There is a small moment of this with Iron Man. As Iron Man, you can call down your Hulkbuster and you can use it yourself, or you can let an ally use it. This was an unexpected surprise, but this is where the synergy begins and ends. Maybe in the main game you can have Iron Man shoot Captain America's shield and then have that blast reflect off, but the beta doesn't seem like there's going to be any type of synergy options. This seems like a huge missed opportunity, and I hope they are in the main game. I worry about the overall story of the game because of how Ms. Marvel is supposed to be at the center of it, and she is really annoying and has some bad dialogue. Another thing that has me worried is that after the first level there is a cutscene that makes the presentation seem really lazy with a lot of still images being used. If this is how many of the cutscenes are in the main game, then this is going to be really annoying. I also think Captain America's death is dumb and really obvious that he didn't die in that explosion. I see the game using this as a plot twist later on. If I end up being wrong, I will gladly eat my words. As you could probably tell from some of the clips, the game has some inconsistent frame rate issues. The game's frame rate will dive at times, and the resolution will also take a hit. When this happens, the game just looks like a complete mess and makes me feel like my PS4 is gonna have a stroke. One aggravating aspect of the game, which could have been totally avoided, is how you need to create a Square Enix account before you even start playing. This cannot be created within the game. This needs to be created on your phone or on a PC. This should be optional, not mandatory. This feels like such a needless and dated feature to include. I don't care about your membership options, and I hate that you forced me to create one. I hope this fails. When I created mine, the confirmation email took over an hour, and then the website kept crashing as I tried to link my account to the PS4. This is a dumb feature and should not be a thing. And yes, I understand that this is a small annoyance in the grand scheme of things, but this was needless and unneeded. Something else I really do not like is how the character battle pass is used for each of the heroes. Each hero has a battle pass, and you can complete daily and weekly challenges to earn points towards this. You earn different things like extra resources and new costumes. You can also use other currencies to buy some of these unlocks early. The problem with this is that the game throttles how many points that you can earn on a daily basis. This makes this aspect of the game feel like a mobile game, and this should really be changed for the better to make this a better progression system. I understand that they want to have something to continually work towards, but don't do this at the expense of the player's experience. Overall, Marvel's Avengers is a very fun game with a lot of caveats, and it is littered with issues. Miss Marvel is an annoying character, and she seems like the wrong choice to be the lead for the story. I understand the want to have a younger hero be the face of the story, but Spider-Man would have been the perfect choice for this. The first mission is full of stellar presentation and set pieces, but that momentum is deflated with the mind-numbing second level and how Hulk is boring to play as. Things begin to get better once you can control Iron Man or Black Widow, as both of these characters are vastly superior and very fun to play as. As I kept playing the game, the list of issues only grew, but I was continually having fun because of how fun it was to play as Iron Man and Black Widow. But being forced to sign up for the Square Enix membership was unneeded, and the use of the Battle Pass progression has me worried for the full game. I think this game has potential, but it also has a lot of issues that I don't think they're going to be able to fix by the launch. As it stands, Marvel's Avengers is a fun but mixed bag of a game. I plan on playing the full game at launch, and thank you very much for watching.